Hi, it's Dave, your Bayou Boy. So, I think it's time for us to go back a little bit and go back into the time in which there are moments that define you as a person. Every medic can say that there are two defining moments: your first real call, and the second is a moment that defines you and gives you the purpose of why you became a medic. Every person has that call. And it just so happens that this particular call took place with Tanya and her husband, Bobby, again. So we need to go back but a little bit forward. So understand that my FNG days were done, and I had succeeded in passing all of my medic training. And I was a full-fledged medic at this point. Nobody was going to take that away from me. And I still enjoyed working the west side of the county. So I never really transferred, even though there were some much better bases available on the east side, even the city that I actually lived in. So what we did was we got a call, and it was early in the afternoon, which was really surprising. Most of the really weird calls that I get as a human being took place during the time of which, you would see it during the actual evening, the weird shit at night. This happened to be the very first time with Tanya that I delivered a baby that would be alive. And if you know anything about me as a human being, you have to understand that the term being born alive is something that means a lot in my family, especially with the fact that a lot of my brothers, in fact all of my brothers, died in childbirth, and I'm the only survivor. And in medic school, they don't fully prepare you for what you're about to face. So we get the call, and it's a pregnancy, and the dispatchers inform us that labor pains are under 5 minutes apart, meaning that this child is coming. This mother has waited too long, and we are far away from the hospital, like I have explained to you before. And the address comes through, and I am instantly horrified because it's Tanya's house. Now, we knew that Tanya was expecting because we had ran calls on the husband and her, and you know, we did know that Tanya had actually cleaned her act up a little bit, and things were looking better in her life. So the good part about it was that we knew that there was a possibility that this pregnancy was going to be halfway decent. We arrive on scene, and it's bad. I mean, she's fully dilated. I'm seeing Christmas, New Year's, and the Thanksgiving turkey all at once. And I have enough time. I've got my OB kit out of the bag, and the worst possible thing happens. If you know anything about delivering a baby, what you want to see is the head. You want to see the head crown in a baby. No, not this time. No, not anywhere near close, folks. Nowhere near close. The baby's buttocks was presenting first, which means I had a breach. I immediately radio in to dispatch. I need another unit, and I need my manager or supervisor or captain immediately. And I need hands on deck because it's just me and another person. And the worst feeling comes over my mind that when I deliver this baby, I am going to deliver a baby that was dead. That this baby was not going to make it. And the thought of that chilled my soul to the bone. I felt every person's worst nightmare all at once. Because, you never want to look at another human being and say your loved one is dead, or you don't want to tell a mother at all that I'm sorry, ma'am, sir, whatever, that your baby that you've been carrying for 9 or 8 months in this case was born dead. And I'm getting ready. Now, if you know anything about delivering a breech birth, which most people don't, you want to try to get your hands in there. And I have an aversion to that. So I'm gloved up, I'm ready. There's no lube. I mean, folks, the joke about having enough lube will work in this case is not it, okay? We're going in dry, except for the amniotic fluid and the natural fluids of the babies and whatever the mother is producing at the particular time. And my goal is to take my hand, cradle the baby up under the buttocks, and I need to create an airway. Because if I don't, this baby will die. And how you do that is you take the other hand, you find where the baby's face is, and with your hands you create a V over the vaginal wall so that the baby can breathe through a pocket. And in a perfect world, it's easy to do. I mean, you go through the simulations, you grab the dummy of the mother, and then you stick your hand in there, you find it, everything's hunky dory, perfect, everything is great. Well, in this case, that's not the truth because I'm having trouble finding the baby's face. You can't look at it and see, I don't have any tools to find it. I'm feeling by touch. So after about 2 to 3 minutes, and we're trying to tell her, don't push, don't push, don't push, until I find the baby's head. And I finally do. And I'm instantly, I'm relieved. I'm feeling it. I feel a baby. The baby is still warm. Great. That's one thing that's going through my mind, that I'm scared shitless, you know. And I tell her why my hands are stuck in her, like, I'm trying to pull the innards out of a Thanksgiving turkey to start pushing at this point. And I've got, finally, everyone has arrived. My firemen are there, and they're seeing me with my hands so far up this woman's snatch that it's ridiculous. It looks like I'm trying to be a hand puppet man, and my hands are now the working of the puppet. But finally, you know, she starts pushing, and I'm feeling the contractions. And, you know, I, there was nothing more powerful in my life that I had felt in my it was a totally different experience. Women, I don't see how you do this, but I could feel the contractions literally squeezing my hands for all that they were worth. Imagine if you were shaking someone's hands and you were shaking hands with Superman, and literally he's grabbing your hand and just clamping down on that. And that's exactly what I was feeling. The pain was immense. I can't imagine what she was going through, because not only was she now delivering the baby, but she was delivering both of my hands at the same time, because my hands are now part of this birthing process. And the final push comes through. The baby slips out. I've got the baby firmly in my hand. Again, scared shitless that I'm going to drop the baby, right? My partner hands me the towel, and I've got the baby in my hand. And the baby is not breathing. You know, my worst nightmare. I'm scared. I'm crying on the inside. I'm dying. Every part of my anatomy is sunk to the bottom of my shoes. The feeling was exhausting. I was exhausted of the situation. I was exhausted of what was going on. And I just knew my worst nightmare was coming true. This baby was dead. And even in my words that I'm speaking now, I can still feel the emotion of it. It is deep in the pit of my stomach. And my training again takes over. My partner is looking at me and he's yelling, David, 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 do it, do it. And I'm flipping the baby over and I start rubbing the baby's back. He's grabbing suction tools, he's up under me, and I'm pretty short, so, that's an accomplishment in itself. And we're suctioning the baby's nose, all of that other great stuff. And all of a sudden, up under my hand, I feel a breath, and it's beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. And I hear the baby cry, and I see the look on Tanya's face, and the baby starts wailing. And every emotion in my life comes to it. It's like I can't describe the feeling of joy. I feel like the father in this case, you know, and I'm just like I can't describe it because it was a feeling of relief, it was a feeling of joy, and it was a feeling of accomplishment that I did it. I was able to do this. Oh my God, I did this. And finally, my sense comes back to me. The baby is wrapped up, and I finally have enough mindset, hey, David, this is not actually your child. So you might want to actually hand the baby to the mother. And uh, it's funny because everyone is caught up into the moment because everyone had witnessed what occurred. And I'm going to be honest with you, I've never really been a spiritual person, but in that moment in my life, I reached out and I touched the face of God because in that moment I finally understood why I had become a medic to begin with. And we handed that baby over to Tanya, and they were so, so happy because we were tore up because the baby wasn't crying or anything, and we we packed her up, we took her to the hospital, and the whole time, we're in an emotional state. I've got the captain driving in, me and my partner in the back attending because now we've got two patients. We've got Tanya and then we've got the baby. And the baby, she named the baby in the ambulance. And it was beautiful. I can't explain to you how beautiful it was. And we got to the hospital and we dropped her off, and everybody was congratulating me. I was covered in God only knows what. And I went and got a pair of scrubs and cleaned myself up, but needless to say, it was a defining moment in my life as a medic, and it was finally what I signed up for. It was like, oh my God, I did this, and it's something that society or people will never take away from you because it is literally something that you will always carry in your heart and soul. And it was absolutely a beautiful story. So I'm about to head on to a trip. Today is my last day before I head out there. I'm going to Boston for PAX. Me and the lady are going. If you enjoyed the story, leave a comment. The words of encouragement that I've received so far has been amazing. Thank you for that. If you do like, subscribe if you would like. Share the we'll have more of the Tanya Tales. It does get interesting, and it unfortunately does take a turn for the worse. But everybody has things in their life that they have to go through. But thank you very much for hanging out with the Bayou Boy. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your week. And you know what? You be you. and you take what you are. I had a friend of mine to tell me one time that everyone's life is nothing but a story, so you make yours the best one. Thank you. You take care now.